Yes, I am, as always, very happy and just thrilled to have with me an old friend of mine, Monty Panesar, a cult hero in English cricket. Welcome to this chat on Cow Corner Chronicles, Monty. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Monty, for taking time out. Monty, first of all, I just want to know how large are your hands? Because I've heard a lot of legends about your hand. They say that it measures about 14 inches and about 36 centimeters, and you can rotate it, rotate your full
Well, I've
wrist
got, I've got, I've got
through
a good,
360
good
degrees.
boxer's fist. Yeah,
That says a lot. That says a lot. Monty, over the years, you've got a number of nicknames. Which nickname have you liked the most
When I was
of all
called,
the nicknames that you've
yeah, I
got
was
over
called
the
Sid the Seek. Then I was called Terminator. Then I was called Monty Python. Uh, John T. John T. I don't know about John T. I don't know. That's because of my fielding. But I think for me, I didn't really mind, any of the nicknames. To be honest, I mind the spitting cobra was one. Probably Monty Python was the one which I liked the most because it just resembled, of like Python being the spitting cobra, and then Monty being my name, and then the comical stuff that I do in the field. So it all relates to everything put together.
And how did you feel when there was multi-mania all over UK, fans wearing patkas and beards and coming onto the ground? And you even mentioned that Sachin asked you about your fame in UK and around the world because the fans really took to you. How do you feel when the multi-mania was taking over UK and all over the world?
Yeah, I think it was just to do with the way I played cricket, the way I I had enthusiasm for the game, and everyone connected to that. I think the fans connected to my energy, and they found me relatable. They found that they could relate me to somebody, and it was quite easy transition with the fans.
Just got a query from somebody saying Thodi Punjabi bolo Paji. Do you speak Punjabi even now when you're having with the parents and
Yeah,
your
yeah, I try and
relatives?
speak Punjabi, obviously with my friends and family. English as well, I can speak quite well. Hindi, I can speak a little bit as well. So, yeah, I'm sort of bilingual.
Monty, just a bit about your early days. I believe your parents moved from Ludhiana to Luton in UK. And was cricket an easy sport to get on to because of the fact that family also was interested in the sport? Or how easy or difficult was it to get into cricket?
Yeah, well, my dad was an all-rounder when he was used to play club cricket. He was a good fast bowler, batsman, and I used to just go to the club matches and score with him. And then that's how I got into the game. Started to play a lots of it, and gradually, yeah, got myself up there with the England team, and that passion, that desire was always there. And I think the turning point for me was when Paul Taylor, the Northants player at the time, he's actually now works for the Surrey Foundation charity, and he said to me, "You should turn to spin. Spin will be a better option for you." So then I turned to spin, and I was turning it, I was pitching it on a length, and it was just probably the best piece of advice I got. When I was able to turn from a fast bowler to a spinner. But when I was young, I always wanted to be like Wasim Akram. Even that's one thing I couldn't do. But spin was another option for me.
I believe that in 2000, January 2000, the Sun named you as one of the five youngsters to watch out for. And at that time, you had said that one of your lifetime ambition was to be noted as the world's best spinner. Was that an ambition that you set out to achieve when you started playing in 2000 at a competitive level?
I think for me, it was just to become the best spinner in the world, and I think that's what I wanted to do. and I got to like sixth ranking, top 10. So yeah, I could say that at one point in my career, I was probably was the best spinner in the world, if you say, at one moment in time. But I think in general, I felt like the ability that I had as a spinner possibly should have taken about another 100, 150 test wickets. But that's how things go. Things go up and down in life, and obviously, you want everything to be smooth, but sometimes get a few hurdles, and you got to deal with them as well.
Absolutely. We in India saw you first time. In fact, I was covering the match at MIG Club when you were playing for England under 19 against India under 19, and everybody was fascinated by you at that time. What was your impression of India when you came with the England under 19 team in
Oh,
late
I think the
2000?
kids were super smart then. I remember Parthiv Patel said to me, "Oh, isko bouncer dena pehli ball Sardar ko," right? So I'm thinking, oh, I understand what he's saying. So I'm thinking, yeah, I've got one up. I've got one up here, and I'm looking for the bouncer. Next ball is a Yorker, and then he goes, oh, and he said to me, he goes, "Welcome to India," and I walked back, and I thought, gosh, the kids are smarter. I've got to say, they are a lot more street smarter in India. Um, I think, I think they're a bit more modern as well. Like a lot of people say that maybe everyone just loves being Western. Whatever's happening in the Western world, India just follows it. you know, um, but I think India has come a long way. It's very, very modern country now. It still holds on to its heritage, onto its sort of spiritual side of things as well. But I think in general, like even here in England, because obviously I'm transitioned from player to business, seeing different things. I always find that even in the major companies, you find that they employ people from India in management positions, which never used to be the case. And the reason that is, I think, because you guys got management schools, you've got a really good one in Gujarat, which always gets talked about. But in general, I think there's a thirst of gathering knowledge and really want to improve themselves and grab opportunities, which is brilliant. It is. You can see like India is a huge difference now to when I first played, in 2006. Just everything, is so much better. The hospitality industry is better. It's like sports as well. People are saying before it used to be cricket. Now there's so many other sports coming through. And India's got this potential now. It's really up to them what they do in the next 5 to 10 years, but they can really, really become a super nation now.
And your strong Indian connection also told in how you did a degree in computer science. How did that come about? And did you apply any of those skills while you were bowling?
Well, I did A levels in maths, physics, chemistry. Hindsight's a great thing, I wish I did engineering. At least I would have understood what was going on. Computing and management, yeah, I understood the management side of things, but computing, I wasn't never good at, programming. I was rubbish at it. And I was there. Graham Dilly was the coach at Loughborough then. He's not with us anymore, unfortunately. And he really backed me, as a cricketer. And we had the Loughborough, obviously, the national centre there as well. But I think it's that question. I always say, people always ask me, if I want to, what's the best piece of advice you give? And I think, well, my passion was cricket, but I still went for education and cricket. Look, if you can do both things, great. But if you're not an academic, then go for what your passion is. I always thought to myself, in cricket, if I don't make it as a cricketer, at least I've got education to fall back on. But I think, in general, I think education is good because I've always got a postgraduate degree in international sports management. I've got a bachelor's. What it does is when you're learning new things, you're learning new concepts, them skills are always there. The way you sort of like for example, one of my goals is to become a media broadcaster. And when I look at topics, I always look at, when you answer a question in the exam and they ask you, can you, give the right? It's never a right or a wrong answer. You're either on the right side or on the wrong side, but you got to like put your points down and implement everything. And that's coming into use now massively because I try and call in during some of the LBC, which is a big radio station here, calling other stations because I want to become a really good media broadcaster. If my playing days are over, obviously I'm going to keep trying to play because once you're retired, you're a long time retired, and I'm fit and I'm fast. I'm more athletic now than I was when I was younger, which is a shame. I think everything's working in reverse with me. When I'm not playing cricket, I'm fitter. When I'm, so yeah, that's just, such is life. But these things do come into play. They do. I think my father always said to me, education will always help you. It always does. It's just the way your mind is programmed. Like if I have to answer a question, I always reminds me of the days when I was at university, when I did my postgrad. There's a method in the way you, take in information, how you, put an answer together. So yeah, it's I quite like it. At least it makes I'm thinking that at least I put my some of my brain into use now. And yeah, that I think that my long term goal, if I can play cricket again, that would be brilliant. Like even in India or in England, I don't know if it's going to happen because we've got the coronavirus. August the 1st, they're saying, probably be a T20 tournament happening then for the whole month, then maybe a few 4-day games. So I don't know. I'll still give it a go. You never know because, there's always an opportunity. If you don't, look, like I say, if you don't try, you never know. So I'm going to try. I desperately want to play again. I'll be honest with you. We've got, on Sky Sports right now, Cardiff Test match, which was the last Test match I played at home. So, I feel like there's a lot of cricket left in me, a lot. I feel like I've still got a lot of cricket left in me. I really hope I get an opportunity to play somewhere.
You talk about the Cardiff Test match. How much did you have to face leg pulling from your teammates for that 11.5 hours that you and Jimmy Anderson batted? What was the reaction post the innings?
I think what helped us, right, was we had a buddy batting system. So everyone, the top 6, had to pick one of their players, and I had Paul Collingwood as mine. And what it does is when a coach throws it to you, it's different, because he's probably tired by the time number 11 comes in to put his pads on, right? So for me, I found it really helpful. I found that Paul Collingwood giving me these batting advice, how to play fast bowling, make sure your backlift is really low, hands are really close. So like in a way, they're teaching you technique as well as they're teaching you the mindset, the game plan that you need to have with each bowlers. Like I think it worked really well, and I think that was one of the reasons. We managed, me and Jimmy managed to bat out, and he actually batted really well in the first innings. And both of us batted really well in the first innings. We got up to like 400 plus as a score, so that gave us a confidence. But I think that batting system really helps, especially tailenders. We don't really think from a batsman's perspective. We always think as a bowler, we need to get bat on ball. Oh, it feels good when I just hit the ball, even though it's wide outside off stump and it's swinging away. We still go for it because that feels so much better than leaving the ball. But as a batsman, he would leave it because that's what they do. So these things help, man. These things help when when you have a batsman throwing balls at you.
And did you get some sweet nothings from the Aussies all through those 11.5 hours?
Sorry?
I said, did the Aussies utter some sweet nothings to both of you all through those 11.5 hours just to remind you a lot of things about yourself and everything around them because the frustration was kind of getting to them?
Yeah, I guess, look, sometimes what you think that's happening in your mind as you're playing the game and what you watch on TV, sometimes it'd be two different scenarios. I'm thinking, look, I'm really nervous, or times when I'm really relaxed. And there's other times where I'm watching on TV and I'm thinking, this situation doesn't look that intense. Like, why does it feel so intense when I'm in the middle? And I think the great players, what you see on TV and what they deliver on the pitch and how they feel is pretty much similar. and they're like, when you see some of the great players, like when I remember, watching some of the, just all around great cricketers, and then you see them in real life as well. There is that similarity there. I felt like when I had a bat in my hand, what was going through my mind to what it was, it was like, gosh, there was a lot going on in my mind there when I had a bat in my hand, and I'm just hitting the ball and just leaving the ball, not doing anything extravagant. But in my mind, I feel like there's a lot going on. It looks much better than what it is. And there's other times where I feel like, gosh, it doesn't feel that great. And then I look on TV and I think, wow, gosh, I was a good batsman for however long I stayed at number 11. I could middle the ball, had a great technique. So yeah, there's it's just that's the game for you. Sometimes when your mind is in a good place, the TV and whatever's in your mind, is similar. When your mind is really confused and then you're still performing well, I think that's what the greats do. They just find a way of performing, even when their mind is not 100%. They don't feel great, but they still find a way of performing.
So who was the more graceful left-hander? Was it you or Jimmy Anderson?
Well, it's me and then David Gower. I think he got the combination wrong. It's me, David Gower, Sarah Ganguly in there, Jimmy Anderson, Yuvraj. I'm not sure about Yuvraj. He's got too much of a high back lift. He should just hit the ball sixes and fours. Didn't do it gracefully, did he? He just whacked it and just won the game for India many occasions. But Graham Thorpe is another one underestimated. He's played 100 Test matches. No one talks about him. He's like a everyone talks about David Gower, Monty Panesar, Jimmy Anderson. But yeah.
Monty, I think my audio is not that clear. I'll just switch to the system.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Monty, there's a question from one of your fans, Jatin Hans, asking who was the toughest batsman you bowled to. I think that's linked to one other question that I wanted to ask you about the fact that you made your first debut in 2001 against a side which also included a certain Shahid Afridi, and yet you came away with strong colours. So who was the toughest batsman, and what do you remember of the debut match?
I think, for me, I remember the debut match against Shahid Afridi. He just whacked 150 out of nowhere, and he just batted brilliantly. It was just absolutely amazing. And he was like already. He was already like, I think, 5 years ahead of the game. Like he was hitting the ball like other people couldn't even hit. And then it was nice to see him get my T20 100 as well when he played for Derby, which was here at NatWest. But I guess his leg spin just got better and better, and he kind of just became more of a match-winning leg spinner and someone who can hit a few boundaries and get out. But he's still, still very, like a huge presence. He has a real presence, and he'll probably be we all know he's probably one of the best all-rounders ever to play in white ball cricket. T20, one-dayers, match changer, game changer, unbelievable cricketer.
And who would be the toughest batsman that you ever bowled to?
I'll probably say Graham Smith. He averaged 80 against left-arm spin, and I could never get him out. He was just so good. Unbelievable.
The year 2006 was a big year for you, not just because you made your debut, that's a secondary thing, but it was big because you were the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. You won the Beard of the Year award, and also you got a wicket of a certain Mr. Sachin Tendulkar. A good year, all in all, for you, 2006. How do you look back on that first year in international?
Well, that was a great year, 2006. I needed a few more years like that in my cricket career, to be honest. I only had one of them. But I was surprised, that I got even in the top 10 personalities. And I guess it's more. I guess you're right. I guess it's more. You know, there's some cricketers who have great records and probably have the mute button all their life. You know, just never say much, just professionals, and you know they just love scoring runs, love taking wickets. I think for me it was like a celebration to take a wicket. You know, celebration to play for England. Just everything, you know, in life I just enjoyed. You know, that was my character. And I think, yeah, when you talk about BBC Sports personality over the year, there's something to do with your ability as a cricketer, but also to do with your personality as a human being. You know, what do you do as a sportsman to the wider public? And I guess I brought a lot of happiness to a lot of fans. People loved the way I played my cricket. I just, that enthusiasm, that joy. And I think everyone loved it. And I was encouraged to do more of it. You know, I was told by the England, by Michael Vaughan, all of them captains, Andrew Flintoff as well. They said, just keep celebrating. The crowd love it. We love it. And that's what I did. You know, I just kept on celebrating, and you know, the public loved it. They just loved it.
And the friendship with Sachin Tendulkar, which really became strong after that series, what was it like playing against him, knowing him, because he's a revered cricketer, revered personality in India, and cult status god, as he's referred to by some in India. What was it like playing against him and knowing him personally?
Well, the funny thing is, the fifth religion in India is cricket, and Sachin's God. So that's the strange thing, you know. I think even he probably gets fed up from it. You think, look, guys, I'm only a human being, just like you guys. I'm not God or anything, but I guess it's that worship status that they have. The fans, it's something to celebrate, something to look forward to. And yeah, look, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even have his number. That's the funny thing. I know you're saying, look, Monty, your friendship with Sachin's great, but like I haven't even had a Zoom call with him yet. I don't even know how lockdown is going for him. So yeah, well, I did actually give him a signed book, you know, and that was that was nice to see him. But yeah, it'd be nice to get maybe nice to maybe have a chat with him over Zoom, see how he's doing. You know, what is he doing during lockdown? Is he going to come to England, or you know, he normally comes there during the Wimbledon. So yeah, it'd be nice to have that sort of friendly, you know, friendship with him.
And who was the best captain that you played under? You played under a number of different captains.
Michael Vaughan.
Why do you say that?
Best man manager. Knew how to get the best out of people. I think he retired too early, but you know, he was a brilliant man manager, brilliant captain. Just knew, you know, how to get the best out of everyone. Very intelligent man, very mature, articulate in his commentary and the way he does his, you know, media interviews and everything. So yeah, he's a brilliant man. He's a top broadcaster.
You've been on 3 Ashes tours and 3 successive Ashes tours, but interesting that in 2006-07 the Aussies talked you up, and the English team didn't play you in that 2006-07. BBC Radio 5 had to petition the English team to play you. But when you went back in 2010, you and Graham Swan obviously became a very strong partnership. What made you take in Australia that you did so well? And what was it about that partnership with Graham Swan? Was it the fact that both of you were from North Hands initially? What was it about that partnership that did so well? Because you won in India as well after that.
Yeah, I think what it was just we played a lot together. He made me feel comfortable. You know, I knew I played a lot with him, and we had a lot of fun together. And yeah, he was a brilliant, funny man, really good cricketer as well. And it just helps when you're under pressure, playing for your country. You know, you need something that you're familiar with, and he's someone I'm very familiar with. We played, you know, I remember him taking his best figures for Northants, 7 for something, 60 odd against Derby, and I remember taking his last catch. So there's a lot of memories we have together, and that helps. You know, when you're playing under pressure and you're playing at the biggest stage, international cricket, you're leaning onto your mate, you're leaning onto, you know, players that you've played with, just to have a laugh. You're more 9 times out of 10, we're talking nothing to do with cricket. It's just to relax us so we can, you know, deal with the pressure. Yeah, so that's why I think me and him got on really well.
and you both of you outbowled India on that India tour in 2012. Was that the highest point, or would it be the Ashes that you guys won in 2011?
Well, the Ashes is always going to be, a high point. Beating Australia is a great achievement, but also beating India in India after 30 years, I think it was. Been a long, long time. So I think for me, it was a real high point, and also for the team, and also for captain Alistair Cook as well. First time he was captaining the India series, his first series as captain. Started with a bang, and yeah, it was brilliant. Really, really good to see that. We had a really strong batting lineup as well. Kevin Peterson scored quickly. I just felt that the Indian spinners were bowled slightly slower on them pitches, and I think maybe they could have bowled a bit quicker.
What sparked the turnaround after the loss in the first Test match, according to you, in the English camp? Because you guys lost the first Test match, and then there was a turnaround.
Yeah, I think firstly, Samit Patel played instead of me, and then he wasn't he would probably say that to himself. He wasn't like the number, like a first choice spinner. He's more of a batsman than a bowler. And then second was Duncan Fletcher. He kind of said he was my coach at England, and then he sort of said, yeah, let's produce a turning wicket. We should beat them. And then we won the toss. The toss was crucial. If we lost the toss, then I think what would have happened was that we would have lost that match. Whoever batted first on that pitch, and luckily we did that. And then the rest, was brilliant. But look, I think it's going to be very difficult. In India, to beat India, you need spinners who can contain and bat long periods. You need an off spinner, leggy or a left arm spinner, and then you need like a couple of batsmen who can score quickly as well. I just can't see another team, beating India. I think it's very difficult to beat India in India.
Now, here's a question. There are a couple of funny questions that come your way. One is, do you still remember that INSEE dismissal from 2006?
I do. Sometimes I ask myself the question, did he do it purposely? Or did he mean to do it? I don't know. You never know with INSEE, because he always gets run out, plays unbelievable innings, and then he does. But look, he gave me a great compliment. I'll be honest with you. Share the funniest banter Indian players. Okay, he said to me, he goes, I've played other spinners around the world. I find it difficult to face you because you bowl it quickly and you turn it. He really rated me very highly, and that was a huge compliment for me. Him, Zaman, one of the greats. And to say that was really lifted me as a human being.
And here's another question. Share the funniest banter you've had with Indian players, because you understand Hindi, Urdu. What was it like? You gave one instance of Parthiv. Was there anything else after that?
Nothing else really. Nothing comes to mind. I was quite a quiet guy then, actually. When I used to play cricket, I used to just, I don't really banter with the guys that much. Maybe I should have done. But yeah, it was just, it was good fun. Yeah, it's good fun playing against India. Always like to get the Indian batsman out.
You had spoken about your version of Dusra. Is it ready?
Well, I don't know if it's ready or not, because I can't bowl it. And but the funny thing is that I did try it, and I managed to start bowling the Dusra. But it was just, I think it's for unorthodox bowlers. You've got to be chest on, you've got to get the wrist to face the batsman, and I was trying it, but it's, I'm a very orthodox bowler, like Bisham Bedi style, orthodox traditional sort of cricketer, Daniel Vettori, that kind of, I think that's my mold.
You spoke about Bisham Bedi. You met him in 2000, and then in 2007, you repeated what he did in England at Lord's, I suppose, when you picked up 10 wickets in a test match. How big an influence was he growing up? Would you hear stories about
it? It was his action, anything, and his mindset. His mindset was to bowl the ball slowly in the air, and I don't know if I agreed with that. I was like, every time I bowl it slower, the ball get whacked out of the ground for even bigger six. But he goes, but I think what he had was that he got the ball to hang in the air. and his wrists were really strong. So he used to have this very nice amble sort of beautiful action. But to get the ball, many not a lot of spinners can get that hang. It's more of a flight than a dip. That hanging. It's an art. And he was a much better bowler than me. But I couldn't bowl it slow. I'll just get whacked out of the ground. So I had to bowl in this era, which was you have to bowl it with a bit more pace, get good shape on it. Maybe in his time you could have bowled it slightly slower, but he had such deceptive wrist positions that I guess for him it worked. But for me, like you could see an arm ball mile away, or you could see a slower one. I don't think I had great deception in my wrist like he did. He was a very talented bowler, unbelievable bowler. I don't think I had that ability, but similar actions. But I think his wrist position was better than mine.
Do you sometimes replay videos of that Lord's Test match, India-England in 2007? And do you appeal again for Sri Sant's wicket because that looked plumb, didn't it?
You should have walked. I don't even know why I was standing there, for goodness sake. It was hitting middle, and we would have won the Test match. And the funny thing was, right, the funny thing for me was I saw the whole India team out on the balcony looking at the clouds and hoping that it would rain. Because then that was it. We'd have drawn that. But yeah, that was Buckner. Steve Buckner should have given that out. Yeah, I'm still disappointed about it, to be honest. We should have won that Test match at Lord's.
Monty, you had such highs in your career. You played 50 Test matches for England. You had 2 successful Ashes series that you were part of. You won a Test series in India. You did well at home, and then you had an abrupt end to your career. Were you disappointed with the fact that you were not able to kick on, or you didn't get the opportunities post that Ashes series in 2013-14?
Yeah, I'll say so. That's why there's part of me who wants to still play a lot of cricket, because things just ended very quickly, and I feel like I've got a lot of cricket left in me. I feel like I can still play at the highest level. So I'm hoping that there's an opportunity somewhere. Then if not, then I'll have to start developing on media broadcasting career, which I feel I can I feel I can do a good job on. It'd be nice to come to India to talk about, to go on the if the IPL is on and talk about it. Many other things. So yeah, I'd love to go into media broadcasting.
You still harbor hopes of playing for England someday, because they're still struggling to pick a mainline spinner for Test cricket.
Yeah, look, if I can play first class cricket, then definitely I'll look to see if I can play for England again. But yeah, look, I feel I've got a lot of cricket left in me, so I would love to play first class cricket again. If I had a choice, that would be my first choice, to play first class cricket, and then maybe play one more Test match. I love that, love it.
You had spoken about playing in the Ranji Trophy. How far did those talks progress?
Yeah, I guess it didn't come through, because the thing is that Ranji Trophy, the law does say that they don't have overseas players. So I'm a British citizen, and therefore they don't like NRIs. NRIs are non-resident Indians, right? I think you guys don't like them sort of people, because they bring in the coronavirus. They're like, chuck them out, chuck them all out. You got to be Indian, strict Indian only. NRIs out.
But you also have an alternate career. You were CA Cricket Australia spin bowling consultant, weren't you?
Yeah, like that. Look, I did that, and then he did really well in the first Test match. Beat India, and then it's like Monty's like always beating India, and I that's the last thing I want to do. But I think coaching is, coaching. I find coaching quite easy, because I'm a people's person. I understand people really well. I'll get to know people in different environments, and then when you coach about cricket, it's a lot easier. It's not as hard. So yeah, I think coaching, commentating, anything to related with cricket is where I want to be. But ultimately, I think media broadcasting is I think where I feel like I can really become good at it.
We'll probably do a show together sometime soon, where you join us and do the show jointly sometimes in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love to do that.
Monty, you've been pretty honest about battles of the mind, so to speak, and you've been very honest in fact that you've spoken about mind being an important factor in playing cricket. You had sessions with Mike Brearley, if I'm not wrong, where you guys spoke about your battles of the mind. What made you speak about it, and have you always been this open about being out there and letting people know what you really thought?
Well, the funny thing was, I was in denial for a long period of time, and my parents, my family, they knew that. Like, I'll come home, and if I'm in a grumpy mood, they'll be like, "Oh, he hasn't taken any wickets today. That's why he's not saying much," or he's not talking. So they would already suss my mood. But I think when I wasn't in a great place, they didn't force it upon me. They got like family, friends, and whatever to say, "Oh, Monty, I think maybe you should go and see a psychiatrist. Just go and see him, sit down, have a coffee." They weren't saying much. It was about me just going and seeing a psychiatrist. And I think what I found was that if you can be honest about yourself, honest about what I went through my mindset, my mental, how mentally I was. I just did it because I thought the fans should know the honesty. But then what ended up happening was there was a lot more people who spoke about it, come up to me. They go, "Monty, I'm suffering from mental health issues. I'm suffering this, I'm suffering that." And there's quite a lot of people from the Asian community. And then in India, they say, males or, even within anywhere, right? Males are seen as like, strong people. They're never not vulnerable to talk about their emotions, their thoughts, abstract conversations, or anything like that. And in the end, I think a lot of people found it very refreshing. They thought, actually, you know what, Monty, we find it refreshing that you're being honest about how you conquered your mental health issues. That it's actually helping us, the honesty and the vulnerability. It's allowing me to be that honest and vulnerable to people that I trust in safe environments, because I don't mind talking to the media about everything or anything. It doesn't really bother me, right? But for some people, they may not find it comfortable, amongst maybe companies or, for example, one sec.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello? 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 You come back.
Just having a bit of an issue. Yes, Monty's back.
Me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yeah. You're saying something.
Yeah. So I found that a lot more people wanted to be honest, like have honest conversations and everything like that. And I think that was the biggest thing about it. It's about you're helping people to be honest about their emotions and thoughts that they can talk to other people about. And sometimes by talking, half the things that are on your mind, they seem to disappear. It's like clouds, aren't they? Every cloud is a thought. You just keep talking about it, and eventually you see clear skies. So that's the best way, to talk about whatever's on your mind rather than confusing everything. Like I find some people, they analyze their thoughts and go into overdrive. It's like, no, just talk about your thoughts and let's move on to the next thought. Let's move on to the next thought until we get to a place where your mind feels at peace and it's calm. That's it. Like, I don't want to go, you say one thought and give you 10 other thoughts. It's like, that's not the part of the process here. It's like, you've got loads of thoughts in your mind and I'm going to speak them out. And eventually I'm going to get to a place where I've got no thoughts. And that's it. Then your mind is clear and then you can just crack on with the day. And that's why talking's important.
Monty, there's another issue that you've taken a stand on recently. It's what has happened in the United States after the George Floyd moment. And we posted a picture on Instagram, and quite a powerful picture as well. Yesterday, I think Michael Carberry has also come out and spoken about the fact that the African Caribbean population in English county cricket are constantly facing issues with race and stuff like that. And the BAME community, as they call the Black Asian Minority Ethnic Community in UK, that's a big topic as well. And the England and Wales Cricket Board has a very strong South Asian focus. How do you look at this whole debate around race, especially after what Michael Carberry has spoken about in English county cricket?
Well, the problem is this, right? Is that in the music and the sports industry, we have a higher representation at the younger generation, but then between the ages of 45 to 65, the representation is much lower at senior levels, and also in key positions where people make decisions, right? So, you look in India, I think look at different states. You may have certain people from certain states who are in decision-making positions and others who are not there yet. And to have a fair representation of every country, I think there needs to be people from different states in positions of senior management positions where then they have the opportunity to make decisions as well. And it's the same thing in England, where, sometimes, for a simple example is the football premiership has a far greater representation of black footballers than cricket in the Premier League. But we don't have enough black managers coming through in the Premier League. And then that's where the disproportionate is. That's where it becomes a bit let's say not unfair, but possibly are people not being encouraged, to take up senior position roles after they stop playing football? Can a black player become a manager? Like, I remember Jermaine Defoe, he actually spoke to Gareth Southgate. He said, look, do you think there's any point in me doing the coaching badges? And he goes, oh mate, don't say something like that. Of course you should take them. We want more black people to come through. So I think now there is a bit of a recognition now, and I think that the other issue is in lots of companies there's been gender pay gaps. What about in the BAME community, different sort of members of different communities, different backgrounds? Are they being equally paid in the top 100 companies? There's an issue of that. But, these things take time, and to address them, I think what's more important is about change and a fair representation. If you've got a certain player or a certain individual in the Premier League who's done a lot for the league, has, won countless trophies for that football team, then that player should have a natural progression into leadership position, because he's given so much to the team. And that's what the argument is that someone like, let's say, Jermaine Defoe, who's done a lot for this country, he's played a lot of football, given everything back, will he become a manager of a Premiership team? And I think he should. Sol Campbell found it difficult, to get into the Premiership team, to get into like a coaching position. And they should get in there, because then you need that diversity, because then you're being fair and that equality does exist. But if you're going to, like that stereotype view of like, if you're Indian, you've got long fingers, you must be a spinner, right? And that's it, after spin, that's all you do. You're a cricket player, and that's it. You're not involved. Let's say, for example, myself, if I'm not involved in the game, if I'm not involved with from a coaching perspective, a commentary perspective, or something like that, then that would then I think what it is, sport is such a thing. It brings everyone together. That every community, every person from different background, whatever your language, your race, whatever it is, there needs to be a representation, especially at senior level and a level where you can make decisions as well. And that's the bit where they're saying that, oh, for many years, for example, black people have not been treated fairly, equally. It's like this goes down a long, long way. This was like in the 40s and the 50s in America. Black people weren't allowed to buy land. There wasn't, the laws were written in such a way which would not favor them, limit their progress. And these things, after then 40, 50 years of suppression of, that being, having a fair representation, there's no black women who are presidents, chairwomen. Why is that the case? So these are all the different topics that get erased. And then suddenly there's a question of elitism. They kind of think that, by the way, it's the elitist. Only the elitist are allowed to be in that position. But, I think at the moment we're missing like a leader in like Mahatma Gandhi at the moment in the world. Someone who's a very peaceful protester, was able to make big decisions with the British Empire. And the way he got the independence, without even shooting, one bullet, did it very peacefully. He had that sort of leader, I think, is required now in the world. And I think we're missing someone like him because, protesting can happen for so long. It's like a cyclone after 10 days, the anger goes away. But what changes will you take place? What are your changes that you will do that you will help and encourage a fair equality system taking place? And I think that's what I mean. Changes should start taking place. There should be a review of an internal review from all companies, at least top companies. What is the pay structure of different people from different backgrounds? And it all needs to be done very peacefully. And we don't want to aggro. It needs to be done in a peaceful manner, because anything that you do in an aggressive way, it's kind of, you kind of feel like we have to do this, but we don't really want to do it. So I think that's what it is. It's important that people get recognised, especially in senior positions. That's been a big issue in the Premier League. Black players, I find it difficult to get jobs in the Premier League football because for whatever reason, they maybe a stereotype view that they're not good managers. They're just good footballers. But that sort of stuff has to change, because then change will start taking place if you've got key figures in senior management positions of companies, of governance, of organizations, especially from the black community and other communities as well. Then, that's important.
Have you experienced any such issues during your career in English county cricket, just like Michael Carberry spoke about?
Yeah, look, I think, like, for example, labelled as a low order batsman, I can only bowl. I think sometimes what it is that how many Asian coaches are there? Amongst the coaching system, amongst the ECB, like what sort of players do we have there as well? And like they said a stat that like 30% of the club cricket amateur game is covered by Asian people, but only 3% get into the professional game. Now, why is that the case? Is it because we have people, families don't believe that cricket's a great path to go into? They feel that there's other opportunities where you can make like if you look at it, the South Asian communities are very good at, raising capital. We have a good financial capital. They know how to make money. It's something,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. We all have this blessing of just know how to make money. And that sometimes becomes more important than actually, your passion and whatever. But having a dialogue, reviewing these things is a starting, isn't it? It's where you then start that and you start in addressing issues. But, if you're not going to have any dialogue and you're going to dismiss it after a few protests and the government doesn't bring in any policies or any new changes or encourage change, then it's just going to be like another thing, we just got angry about it for a few days and then, it went back to normal where, like culturalism, it's another thing. If I'm, from, let's say a top-end university, I would only speak to a like-minded person who's got similar mannerisms, similar way with the way I talk, while I may not give as much time to someone who's probably from a different background. And these sort of things start, creating an issue. And if there is some sort of a review system taking place, where they do say, yeah, we want a more of a diverse diverse society, and we want to help people that of the minor communities that are finding difficulties, then these reviews and having internal dialogues amongst companies, amongst employees is where it really starts.
Just last couple of questions. Cricket Australia put out a tweet in 2013-14, and it was considered to be quite offensive. How did you look back at that particular moment? Did you find it offensive yourself?
See, look, I'm from a sports background, and we just laugh at these things. But I realised more about where the world is at now since I stopped playing cricket, and I was like, I play cricket, train, go to sleep, repeat, go again, and that's it. Now it gives me an opportunity to have a look at the world from a different set of eyes. And the normal person, or people who work 9 to 5, there's so many issues, everyone has, and it's about knowing yourself, what these issues are, how you can help. By my status, as a cricketer, by the popularity that I have, like I haven't played cricket for like 3 or 4 years for England, but the popularity is still the same. I don't think it's ever going to die out. It's like, oh yeah, big hands, beard, Patka, that's Monty, right? So I need to use this in a positive way now. Maybe I want to give back to the cricketing community, but also help people as well, because the fans and everyone give you so much. And like I say, you only know if you put yourself in another person's shoes, the difficulties that they're in, what things are difficult for them and what ain't. But if you can use your profile, your celebrity status, sportsman status, to help people in society, then I think that then you've put it into good use, and that's something I wish to do.
England and South Africa are both heading towards being a multicultural side, because both sides have got people of different kinds of origins in them. South Africa have a policy where they mandate a certain number of players in their squad. Is that a way to go to, or a much more equitable way of people getting on merit, irrespective of how they look or feel or see or themselves?
Well, the thing is, with South Africa, they had apartheid, and they need to have these laws in place, because they have to have people of South African, people of color or black people from South Africa in senior positions, because if they're not going to do that, then that community is gonna just deprive itself. It won't. There's no signs of progression. The people in the townships, they need to come out of there and get educated, or have good education systems in their own townships, which they're used to. That's their home for them, and encourage people to get educated, encourage people to work in bigger companies, to see a progression in the black community in South Africa, because the apartheid suppressed it. It was unfair on humanity. You know, the things that they did was completely unfair. That you can't do that. That's not humanity. Like, what you're doing is you're not giving equal rights to every human being, and you should do. You know, like, equal rights should exist, and this is like the way of South Africa doing it by having their quota system. They have to have that. They can't like not have it. You know, there's people are going to be very upset if you know, they pick everyone on merit and all the players are white. You know, it's just that can't happen because of apartheid. You know, because of the apartheid, they have to have like the best white players playing. You know, if this is the best African player we have and he doesn't make him the best 11, but he has to still play. We're going to develop him into a good player. We're going to develop a colored into a good player, because then he would be a representation for their community. And then that's something for the community to cheer about. Then, you know, like these protests or how people about equal judgment or equal rights. It's like that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. And that's what it is, you know, like, look at India, for example. You know, India is such a diverse country. Like, how are you going to get people from all different states to represent in one company? That's just going to be difficult, right? We've got to be sensible about this. But there needs to be like that fair quality. You know, people need to have internal reviews. You know, there needs to be like a Punjabi guy in senior positions, for example, from the north, from the west, maybe from someone from Maharashtra, Gujarat, from the east, someone from Bengal, from down south, someone from Chennai. They need that diversity needs to happen, you know, even in India. You know what I mean? And it's important that we do have that, because India's a massive country, and if India wants to become a super nation, like take on America, then this is the next stage that I think India needs to have. You know, every company has a Sardar, someone from Maharashtra, someone from Chennai, and one from Bengal, you know, like that. Now, that diversity is important, very important.
Now, happier times. West Indies are now in England. They're going to play from next month. But now there's a rule that you can't use saliva on the ball. But you would never have had any problem, because, like you wrote in your book, you use that they use mint and sun cream on the ball, or shine it on the zip of the pocket. What do you make of this whole saliva ban that the ICC is?
Look, I think we will find out soon. But look, I'll give you an example. Monty Panesar, when he did the mile, 4-minute mile, the next year there were 20 other athletes who broke the 4-minute mile. But no one could ever think in the 1960s that could ever happen. Now people are going to think, oh, I can't swing the ball without saliva. We'll end up producing more skillful bowlers. It just happens. That's how evolution happens, you know. If you're in an environment, no saliva, they'll find another way. You know, you have to. You know, we can't have too many people breaking Brian Lara's record, can we?
No. Now, this is a fan question again. If you were picked in the IPL, which team would you like to play? Is there a favorite team of yours that you feel that you suit yourself very nicely? I'm thinking that it's Kings 11 Punjab, but what's your obvious team of choice?
You've got me there. I've talked about diversity now, haven't I? So I've got to pick a team, a Punjabi guy that is completely out of his comfort zone, doesn't understand the language, and he's in there because of the diversity, right? If I go to Punjab 11, is the easiest option. I'll have Chole Bhature every day, and I'll speak Punjabi with everyone. That's my easy option, right? That's like easy for me. So where do I don't understand Tamil, but Harbhajan Singh is there, so I can't play in the same team as him, because he will always say to me, look, Monty, I'm playing. If we're in the same team, you can't play. Only if I'm, if I'm injured, or no, not injured, sorry. Only if I don't want to play that. So like, I'll be always competing with him. Plus, they got Ravinder Jadeja there anyway.
Yeah.
I think what about Hyderabad could be one team. Hyderabad Sunrisers. I've got Johnny Bairstow there, good friend of mine. A couple of English players could play for that maybe. Kolkata Knight Riders, Owen Morgan's there. You know, I'm testing myself. I have to learn my Bengali with Saraf Ganguly. You know, he's the president. Need to know some nice sentences when I meet him and I greet him. That could be another team. Mumbai Indians, possibly. I don't know anything about Marathi. No Marathi for me. So look, it's so many different teams. But yeah, look, I think Kolkata Knight Riders will be a good team. Easy, I think, because of Owen Morgan's captain as well, or Johnny Bairstow. You know, that's a good one. But then there's Joss Butler at Mumbai Indians. Gosh, I'm sportable choice now. We haven't had so many English players in the IPL since the last 5 years, and now they're everywhere. Like London buses, they all come at once.
KKR could also open your doors to Bollywood, because Shah Rukh might take a look at you. And
yeah, I think me and Shah Rukh needs to play a role together, actually. I was actually at a party in 2010 or 9, right?
Can't hear you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I was at a party and I was with Shah Rukh Khan and everyone there. These actors just look magnificent in real life. They look like, you know, when you go and see, you know, that statue museum. I forgot the name of it. Like, it's in England everywhere. You see them in real life. They look so symmetrical. They're like, a normal human being will have, you know, like one arm big, one arm small. They are of equal, you know, they're so symmetrical, these actors, and they must work so hard to keep that symmetrical, you know. It's unbelievable.
Well, Monty, thanks a lot for your time. Like I said at the start, in the year 2000, you set out to be the world's best spinner. You did become world's best spinner, according to Duncan Fletcher and Peter Moose. And we certainly think that you should come back and play at least one more test match, or maybe more than one. And maybe next year when India tours England. Thanks a lot for your time. Hope you have a great lockdown period, and I'll take you up on the offer of doing the show together in the future.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the interview, and
thank you
very much. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.